guys, today we're going to be doing a heart hairstyle, and I'm going to start by making a feather braid on each side of her head. I'm starting with a small section here in the front, and I am going to spray this down with a little bit of water so that we don't have flyaways. And then I'm going to split this section into 3, and I'm going to be adding hair into this top strand, so just on the top side of the braid, and then on the bottom strand I'm going to be removing a small piece from each section. So here on the top, I just added that strand in, and then on the bottom, I'm not going to add any hair, but I'm going to remove just a small piece before I cross that strand over. And I'm just going to continue that pattern until I get back to the center of her head. So now that I'm almost to the center, I'm just going to braid this down normally a few times and then tie it off so that it doesn't come unraveled, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to be making this braid over here the same way. I'm going to be adding hair into the top and removing from the bottom. Now that I have both of those braids done, I'm just going to bring them here in the center and tie them together with an elastic. You'll notice as I did these braids, I didn't bring them in all the way into the center to meet. I did leave a little bit of a gap here. So for the next step, I'm going to split this ponytail about in half, and it's going to depend on the thickness of your hair. You just need enough hair in this bottom piece that you can make 2 braids out of it. And then with this hair that's on the bottom half, I'm going to bring it up through this gap here. So I'm just reaching underneath with my fingers and I'm pulling it up. After you pull that hair up underneath there, you're going to want to split that section in half. The half that I'm not going to be working on immediately, I'm just going to clip over here to the side to keep it out of my way. So before I start on this side of the heart, I'm just going to go back to these strands that I left out from the feather braid, and I'm going to add a little bit of pomade to each one just so that I can keep them separate. Okay, now that I have that product on these strands, I'm just going to have her hold those out for me away from the rest of this hair so that they don't all get combined, and it's going to be easier to braid them in. To start with, I'm just going to section this piece into 3, and I'm going to make a small braid. You want it probably just a couple of inches long. This is going to be the top of the heart. So now that I have it braided up to the point where it's kind of level with this braid here, I'm going to start adding in strands from the side. So I'm just going to take this strand here on the right, cross it over, and then I'm going to add in the one that's closest to me first. And you want this first one kind of tight so that it will hold that shape in place. And then I'm just going to keep going, adding a strand to that right side every time. As I'm coming down, I'm going to start angling it more in towards the center of her head so that it forms that heart shape. Now that I've added in all of those pieces from the side, I'm just going to continue braiding down a little bit further. So of course I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm just going to do the heart-shaped braid and add in these feather strands as I go. So I just braided this other side, and as you can see, these strands aren't laying exactly perfect. What you can do is go back and just loosen them up a bit and separate them. So I just pulled on that bottom one. I'm going to come up to the next one and pull it out slightly as well. You can just kind of mess with them until you get them laying how you want. So now that I have both sides braided and I kind of have these strands laying how I want them to, I'm going to take these 2 ends and tie them together. And you'll just kind of need to look at your heart and decide where you want to tie them off. You can do it up higher or down a little bit lower. It's just really up to you how you want it to look.